Right now at noon, there's a new police chief in town. We'll take to City Hall as he's sworn in.
And we've got ourselves a beautiful but chilly and breezy day out there. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
Plus, 900 books are donated to local kindergartners. We'll see how this charitable cause came to be.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. In today's top story, Joplin's new police chief, Richard Pearson, is officially sworn in. Monday's ceremony was held at 9 a.m. in City Council chambers of City Hall. City officials joined the police command staff and other city employees to welcome Pearson to the city organization. The public was also invited to attend and welcome Joplin's new chief. He will be formally introduced to the Joplin City Council during a session Monday evening. Joplin News First and KOAM carries the City Council meetings live beginning at 6 p.m. Pearson most recently served as captain of the Jefferson County Public School System Police Department in Louisville after serving 22 years in Louisville Metro Police Department.
Working towards this since I was 15 years old. I'm extremely excited and happy to be here. I'm looking forward to working with everybody in city government, all the residents, everybody in the community. Everybody's been so warm and encouraging and welcoming, and which is very nice to walk into, especially on your first day.
Chief Richard Pearson was chosen for this position in August after a national search by the city of Joplin. And the governors of Missouri, Nebraska, and Iowa met this week to discuss managing the Missouri River. The governors met at the Kiewit Luminarium in Omaha with the Army Corps of Engineers. The 3 governors stressed the importance of working collaboratively together, including with the Corps, to move forward after a flood in 2019. The Corps retained control of more than 400 permits related to the river, with a goal of making sure they keep it from clogging to prevent floods.
And we don't have any flood situations to worry about here. Unfortunately, we need rain and just haven't gotten as much as we should have at this point. Quick look outside. Our camera on top of the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. The way it's pointed, we've got clear skies. But we also have those gusty north winds. They've been pushing upwards of 20, 25 miles an hour out there. Yesterday started the day at 27, so only a degree off of the average, but made it up to 57, 10 degrees warmer than where we should be for this time of year. But as you can also see, for the month, we're already an inch and 1.33 inches below normal. For the year, we are almost 15 inches below normal on precipitation, which is not good. We absolutely need more. All right, we're going to get some more a little later. Right now in Joplin, 41 degrees, got some sunshine out there and some sunshine down in Pittsburgh, and we're sitting at 39, so we're not going to warm up too much more. In fact, we're going to be relatively close to normal out there. 42 Chinook Parsons, 39 Fort Scott, Nevada, Iola, 40 in Carthage, 42 Miami, a little warmer to the south and to the west, 43 Welch, Veneta, and 44 in Newata. Going through the rest of the evening, temperatures are going to fall back into the upper 20s as we go into the overnight hours, and then we'll start to see late tonight clouds begin to increase just slightly. Again, we do have some rain chances this week, and we also have some warmer temperatures on the horizon. We'll look at all that in your full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. A few years ago, Carthage Family Literacy Council wrote a grant to give away approximately 400 copies of the book Giraffes Can't Dance, and that was to Carthage kindergarten students. Now, thanks to a generous donation, the Literacy Council Board voted to switch to a holiday theme, and Scholastic Books curated a list of books, and approximately 900 mixed titles were purchased to give to their students. Today, they distributed the books to all kindergarten students in Carthage, and we were there for this amazing donation. An early Saturday morning, Joplin Police and Seneca Police hosted nearly 200 kids at their Shop with the Cop program. Captain Will Davis of the Joplin Police said it was a great way to build bonds with the kids.
Christmas shopping spree, each kid gets $100, and we're able to go out and they get to pick whatever they want and just have a good time and really kind of build a bond with the kids in our community.
And later this week, when it's not quite as hectic, they will shop with special needs kids in a private event. Both police departments wish to thank all the donors who make each year possible. And that's a look at today's top stories and weather in the 4 states region. Up next on KOAM News at Noon. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is on the rise in the polls, but she continues to walk a fine line when speaking about former President Donald Trump. We'll have the full story. And later, we're making caramelized sweet potato crowns in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Stay tuned. In the presidential race, Iowa Republicans will cast the first votes in just 4 weeks, and the latest CBS News polls shows former President Donald Trump still has an enormous 36-point lead there. But the next stop in New Hampshire has suddenly become much closer, with a poll showing former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley just 15 points behind. Meanwhile, new comments about migrants by former President Trump are drawing sharp criticism. Ed O'Keefe is at the White House.
I'm gonna fight for you.
Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is on the rise in the polls, but she continues to walk a fine line when speaking about former President Donald Trump.
I agree with a lot of his policies. But rightly or wrongly, chaos follows him.
On Saturday in New Hampshire, Trump intensified his anti-immigrant statements.
They're pouring into our country.
Comments the White House called grotesque and that the Biden campaign compared to Nazi rhetoric.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world.
Comments drew a sharp rebuke from at least one Republican opponent, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
What he's doing is dog whistling to Americans who feel absolutely under stress and strain from the economy and from the conflicts around the world. And he's dog whistling it to blame it on people from areas that don't look like us.
Despite the criticism from rivals, the CBS News poll finds GOP voters in New Hampshire are most likely to describe Trump as a strong leader, who in their view has the best chance to defeat President Biden. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who's running second to Trump in Iowa, warns even if Trump should lose there or in New Hampshire, he will try to claim fraud.
If Trump loses, he will say it's stolen no matter what.
Part of the reason Nikki Haley is doing better in New Hampshire than in Iowa, remember, is that New Hampshire's primary is open not only to registered Republican voters, but to independent voters who may be looking for a more moderate, or as the poll suggests, reasonable Republican. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, the White House.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has arrived in Israel as the U.S. pushes leaders there to scale back on the war. The visit comes as Israel steps up its bombardment of what it says are Hamas targets in the Gaza Strip, while restarting hostage talks and reopening a crossing for humanitarian aid. UN officials say more than half of the population in the war-torn territory is starving. Skyler Henry reports from the White House.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Monday in a push to transition to a more targeted campaign against Hamas amid mounting international pressure for a ceasefire in Gaza.
Today we had great discussions about the status of the campaign, about goals and objectives, and about how to reduce harm to civilians.
The Defense Secretary also pushed for more civilian protections and humanitarian aid for Palestinian civilians. The Hamas-run health ministry says more than 19,000 people have been killed since the start of the war.
Protecting Palestinian civilians in Gaza is both a moral duty and a strategic imperative.
In Israel, following the announcement that Israeli Defense Forces accidentally killed 3 hostages, protesters called for leaders to do whatever it takes to bring home the remaining hostages.
They can't stand anymore and wait until Hamas or somebody else or Qatar is giving an offer. They need to initiate an offer.
A U.S. official tells CBS News the head of the CIA is in Europe, meeting with Qatari and Israeli officials to help restart hostage negotiations. About 130 hostages are still believed to be held by Hamas and its allies. U.S. officials have said the Israelis expect the current phase of their operations against Hamas to finish within a few weeks. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Over the weekend, some of Israel's closest European allies, including France, the United Kingdom, and Germany, joined global calls for a ceasefire. Still to come on KOAM News at Noon, we see what's cooking with Mr. Food.
Are you ready to shake things up for the holidays? We've got a new twist on an old favorite that does just that.
But first, we have got ourselves some rain chances on the way, as well as warmer temperatures. We're going to take a look at all that in that forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. So we have a pretty chilly day, especially compared to yesterday, where we actually made it into the upper 50s. Well, today we're going to be a lot more normal out there. Our highs not going to move much more than where they are right now, maybe a degree or two. But again, it's a lot more seasonable. Quick look outside. This is the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin. Plenty of vehicles on the road, either going to lunch, coming back from lunch, or shopping, or who knows what everybody's doing, but they're busy, that's for sure. Our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin's been shaking in the wind. We've got the flags blowing on City Hall. North breeze out there gusting 20-25 miles an hour, which certainly makes it feel a lot colder. And then KDOT turned this camera around, so it kind of threw me off for a second. It is now looking off to the south, but this is the same camera right there on 69 at East 520th Avenue. Looking pretty good. Plentiful sunshine out there. And from our camera, 7th and Range Line, no clouds at this point. We've had a few high clouds here and there, but nothing too crazy. 41 in Joplin, north breeze at 14, but with it gusting upwards of 21, it's making it feel like 33 degrees. So it is definitely chilly out there. Over on the Kansas side in Pittsburgh, sitting at 39 right now, north breeze at 12, and it's feeling like 32 over there. But take a look at the dew point and humidity levels. Very, very low, which means very dry air out there. We've got temperatures about like this, and like I said, they're going to maybe go up another degree or two, but with the wind chills, you're never going to notice. But 39s, lots of those, Iola, Fort Scott, Nevada, Lamar, and Stockton. 42s, Chanute, Parsons, Chetopa, Miami. A little warmer off to the south and west. 44, Newada. 43s, Veneta, Grove, and Jay. 41, Neosho, Anderson. 37 in Monette. For the rest of today, on the average, highs into the low 40s out there. Maybe a few more passing clouds. Big thing, though, is that north breeze 5 to 15, gusting to 25. Winds ease up a bit tonight, but they start to shift as well. Southeast 5 to 10, cold but seasonable. Partly cloudy skies overnight and lows in the mid-20s. Tomorrow, a bit warmer, starting to go back above normal out there as we go into the low 50s. Partly cloudy skies, and the gusty winds return. South breeze 5 to 15, gusting to 25, but that's a south breeze. And everyone in the 4 states, you can say it together. You know what that means. Warmer temperatures, and they are going to warm through the week. We're going to see clouds increase throughout the late part of our Tuesday into our Wednesday and be partly to mostly cloudy ahead of rain chances. Right now, this is the expectation. Here we are about noon, just starting to enter the western edges of our area. Thursday evening, we've got showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, but really we're just looking at a mainly rain event, which is good because, as we mentioned, we are 15 inches below normal for the year. We're not going to recover that, but at least we can get something. We'll get a pause Friday evening, and then we'll see more showers come in from the south as we head into Saturday afternoon across the area. And again, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. Heading into that, temperatures continue to warm. We're climbing into the upper 50s, near 60. Rain chances Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday, possibly into early Christmas Eve day morning. And then we'll dry out a bit, but take a look at that, 60 degrees Christmas Eve. And then we go into the low 40s heading into Christmas Day out there. So it's going to feel cold. It's going to feel like Christmas. Unfortunately, no snow in our forecast. A white Christmas really not looking likely around the area, but at least it'll feel a little more like Christmas. And then we'll start to warm up a little more toward the middle of next week.
Because we're making caramelized sweet potato crowns in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. It's time to check in with Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Instead of that same old baked sweet potato casserole for Christmas this year, Howard's come up with a new recipe that's got a bit of a regal feel. That really gives his caramelized sweet potato crowns a special something is the ooey gooey peanut buttery pecan topping that has just enough crunch to complement the creamy potatoes. This new can't resist twist on an old-time favorite is guaranteed to get everyone excited for a Christmas dinner. Take a look.
For as long as I can remember, every holiday meal that I've been to always includes sweet potatoes finished off with some kind of gooey topping. This year's no different. However, instead of serving the predictable sweet potato casserole, we came up with individual sweet potato crowns that are finished with a to-die-for butter pecan topping. To make these, we start by cutting a couple of large sweet potatoes into 1.5-inch slices. We leave the skins on since it makes them look even more special. Now, we coat our sweet potatoes with a little oil and salt and place them on a baking sheet before popping them in the oven. While they're baking, we combine some brown sugar, chopped pecans, cinnamon, and a tad of softened butter. Once our sweet potatoes are fork tender, we top each one with a spoonful of our butter pecan topping, and back into the oven they go. We can even prep these early in the day and bake them off right before dinner. Serve these with your usual holiday favorites and watch everyone's face light up. It's a new twist on a longtime favorite that is guaranteed to get everyone excited. To get the recipe for our caramelized sweet potato crowns, simply visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a twist on a traditional way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
To find this recipe along with many others, just head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on Mr. Food. Now here's a look at your 4 state market prices.
All right, we got that cool day today. We're talking into the low 40s. Warming up, though, as we head toward the end of the week, near 60 degrees. And then we've got those rain chances building in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then possibly into early Christmas Eve morning, Christmas Eve day morning, however you'd say that, 60, and then cooled again on Christmas Day back in the low 40s.
All right, and what about tonight?
Well, that's coming up at 5. For starters, a groundbreaking new study links babies with birth defects to their mother's fentanyl use. Plus, Joplin's Homeless Shelter opens its annual Christmas market, and all Carthage kindergartners receive the gift of reading for the holidays. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. Have a great rest of your day.